There is a big misconception in the name of numerology that people belonging to number one can always be government servant, or they can always be a politician, or normally they tend to be a politician because they have the authority, they have that leadership skills, and that's why they are going to be a politician, which I totally disagree with. According to the documented copyrighted research work of Nimro Vastu, that is 𝗓𝗏𝗃 theory of numbers, many of our participants, course participants, the team members of Nimro Vastu, they have done thousands of case studies, thousands of observations, and those observations have clearly shown that people belonging to number one need not necessarily be a politician or just get into a government job only. There are many more avenues available for them. So first of all, you need to understand what do you mean by being related to number one. So there are basically three ways that a person can relate to number one. Number one is if number one is present in your birth date. So if you are born in 20th century, so your birth date, basically it belongs to year 900 something, maybe 1980s, 70s, 90, whatever. So you have number one present in your birth date and you are related to number one. Then if you have your initiator as number one, means the sum total of the digits in your date, in your birth date only, that is D plus D. If it comes out to be a number one, maybe number 1, number 10, if you are born on 1, 10, or 19, or 28, so you are related to initiator 1. So in this case, number 1 operates, it's the most powerful number in your case, and it operates your whole existence, your whole personality, and that is the most important number in your life. And finally, if the sum total of all the digits in your birth date, that is your sustainer number, that is sum total of DD, MM, YY, if this comes out to be number 1, in that case also number 1 holds a prominent position in your life and it governs your life, especially your work domain. So in all these three ways, you are related to number 1. And if at all you are related to number 1, then you definitely have a healing disposition, you have creative bent of mind, you have a protective bent of mind for your family, your immediate colleagues, your teammates, and everyone around you, maybe your neighbors or your friends or whosoever, your children. So you are quite protective about them, and any work that entails all these attributes, so you are good at it. So you can go for your own business, first of all, because a number 1 person, is very difficult for a number 1 person to take orders or instructions from anyone, especially when they keep changing. So a number 1 person can do a job only if it is at senior level or it has a creative element in it where he has got or she has got some kind of freedom and they can operate on their own. They can exercise their free will and they can create something on their own or with the help of their teammates. So if they have got that much liberty, they can do a job. Otherwise, in 99% of cases, number 1 person cannot do a job effectively. They will always have problems with their seniors or their senior management. So ideally, a number 1 person is very good at healing. So number 1 person should focus on becoming a doctor or a healer of any sort, any kind of healing. Then they are very good. They can be a great businessman. So almost all the billionaires, all the business tycoons in the world, they are related to number, whether it is Steve Jobs or Tim Cook or whosoever. Almost all the persons are related to number 1, directly or indirectly. Means at times they might appear in conjunction with number 4 also, because number 4 enhances their capacity and that gives them abundant potential. But in general, number 1 is the main vibration, the number vibration governing their life, and that gives them the impetus, the basic force required to generate wealth, to manifest something. Because number 1 persons can start something on their own, they can stick to that mission and they can finally manifest the things or getting it manifested. So they are the ones who are responsible, and that is why they can be very good at starting something on their own. So they can be great industrialists, they can be great businessmen, they can be great doctors, and most importantly, they can be great designers because they are very creative. So whether it is a fashion designer or graphic designer or product designer or interior designer, you can say, so any kind of designing, even architects. So these days architects have been more involved in designing and aesthetics of the house or any space. So all these design activities also relate with number 1. So they have basically got a new idea, creative idea, and they can be great copy editors also. They can be great content. They can be good at content writing also, new writing, new content. So number one person. So basically, number one is all about excellence. Number one is all about leading. So leading means being at first position. Number one is the first number in the number table, and being related to number one means you have to be at first position, especially if number one appears as your initiator. So it prompts you, it encourages you to be at the first position, to excel the things, to dictate the terms, more importantly, to define the terms, so that other people, the people associated with you, the people in your team, they do not have to face all those hardships that you might have faced earlier. And you are basically in a protective role, and you just want to get them sail through all the hardships very easily and very smoothly. This is the role of number. So number one is not all about doing a government job only. Yes, it is very much permissible, and especially the senior government role. For example, in India, it's related to the administrative services, any kind of administrative services, whether it is forest services or foreign services or Indian administrative services or any kind of services. So the senior most level, that relates to number one. Number one persons can also be sports player, but in that case, number one person will be the team head, the captain of the team. So number one is all about excellence. Even they can also appear in army, in Air Force. But again, number one person, you will see him leading the front, leading from the front and controlling the entire team, managing the entire team. So they are good at management. They are good at creating things. They are good at healing. They are protective. And any work that involves any of these attributes. So number one, that particular career is good for number one. They can be good computer programmer, software programmer, developing something, creating something new, whether that is an artwork, a painting, or a song, music, all these things that requires the vibration of number one. So number one persons can be good businessman, industrialist, creative worker, content writer, software programmer. Of course, government job is permissible for them. Politicians, yes, it is permissible. It's not ruled out. Doctors, great doctors and designers, all these domains are available for number 1%. And in the coming century, there might be new avenues opening up with change in the era, changes in the numbers, changes in the overall things, in the overall interface, basically the interface of the life. So we can expect some new channels opening up. So I trust this video must prove helpful for you, especially while you select a career for you and while you think about what all is possible for you being related to number one. If you have any questions or doubt, please do not hesitate to put it in the comment box, and we'll try our best to answer your questions. And if you want something to discuss, then please share the topics and we'll try to come up with a new video on that particular. I hope this video was helpful for you. So if you liked it, please do share it with others and your friends, and do subscribe to this channel, and connect your friends also in this channel, and stay connected with us. Thank you very much. Bye.